Okay, we're live. It looks like it's working finally. I don't know what the hell happened. Maybe my internet went out, but as soon as we're playing the damn intro video, the screen just froze. So, can you guys hear me? How's the audio? We're waiting for Luke to join. He says he's running 5 minutes late. So we'll have Luke on. And then we're also going to have Aaron Smith-Levin, who's one of the most famous people to leave Scientology. And he has exposed the entire religion for being a fraud. And after spending a lot of time in the church, he knows better than anybody. So I'm really excited to speak with Aaron. All right, it sounds good. Oh, I see Spicy Sarah in the chat. What the heck? I haven't seen you in the chat in a while, Sarah. I've seen you on Jaren's channel a lot. That's nice to see you, Spicy. I'm happy to have you on the show today. You know, it's nice when you see a lot of the OG Conspiracy Castle supporters come back. You know, some of them left, when I became a big pimp on a blimp, some of the OGs, but it's nice when they come back and show some love and support. And we got Ronnie in the chat. Thank you for the audio check. Ronnie's always got my back. She's one of the top chat rats. And now I'm getting a call from prepaid. Hold on. Let's see. Babe, you're live. You're on the stream right now. What's up? You're live. All right, well, I was just calling you because I'm going live, and then I'll probably be doing this till about 5:30, 5:45, and then I got to start my show, so I might not be able to talk to you till after the show. So we'll figure out what we got to get for dinner. Because I love you, babe. All right, well, I got some chat rats in the audience. Luke's, of course, running late, but he's probably been celebrating because he got pardoned. So, all right, make sure to watch the stream, like it, and hit the subscribe button, please. I agree. I agree. All right. Love you. Bye. Oh, look at this, $2, Mr. Doodle. Poodles love you, Mr. Alex. Well, I love dogs. You guys know that. And I just saw a video. I don't even want to pull it up, but there's this rapper that, should I pull it up? It's so gross. It is so gross. There's a rapper who had a fan to his house, and the fan supposedly molested the guy's dog. Oh my gosh. Let me just try to find it. Man's dog. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I'm searching this right now. Oh, that's so disgusting. That is so disgusting. What is this guy's name? It's Solo Raphael. Hold on, let me look it up. Solo Raphael, and let me make sure it's definitely an image where. Let me see. Oh crap, that kind of shows like nastiness. I don't know. You guys can't see this. Yo, come in. Come in. I'm live right now. Yeah, no worries. Okay, you can come back. Okay, let me show you guys this. This is so gross. This guy's dog was just, I mean, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know how to describe it, but this guy supposedly slept with this guy's dog. Uh, I don't know how much I can really show of this, actually. I don't know. Let me see. Which rapper is it? Solo Raphael. I know this isn't that interesting right now. Let me try to find it. What's the chat saying? Yeah, we got the nuclear station, but there's this dog that got raped, but they show his derriere and it's all red and stuff. I don't want to show that because I don't want that to be a strike or anything. What is this guy's? Quay Quay is his name. Okay, Quay. Quay Quay is the guy he's a rapper whose dog was assaulted sexually. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why is it showing that? That's disgusting. Twitter is so gross. Twitter is I can't even pull it up. I can't even pull it up. I type in Quay Quay and it's just a bunch of nudity comes up. I mean, what is going on? That's what I'm saying. Elon Musk he's not some good guy like we think he is. I mean, he is bringing free speech back. Let's be real. I'm happy for that. But there's just something sinister about wanting to hook a computer to people's brains so they can park their car. To me, that just seems like I don't know. I mean, it seems like in theory, yeah, good. If you had your arm got blown off in the war, and I mean, I don't know how much of this I can show. What's the chat saying? Do you guys even want to see it? Scott Starboard in the chat. Love you, Scott. Thank you so much. I just don't even know if we should show it. Let me see. I can just hear the audio. I don't want to show you the pictures, but you can hear this woman talking about it. I'm just going to present, share screen. Let's go to share. And I don't want anything weird to pop up.
What do you mean?
They was at his house kicking it. They was at his house kicking it, dumbass people. They was at his house kicking it. My cousin had to leave to go handle something. He said he'll be back. When he came back, the dog was fucking raped. This is somebody that he be with.
Did you hear that? But real quick, you got a $5 super chat. Mr. Doodle. Obnoxious John from Dabbleverse is into pee stuff and hates poodles. You hear about him and the pee stuff? Care to comment? John loves you, by the way. I have no idea who Obnoxious John is into that. I mean, I appreciate the $5. I'm starting to get the Donald Trump vibes. How do we know that he's into this? I mean, if he is into this, that's disgusting. But I don't know if that's real or not. But I appreciate the $5. Yeah, of course, stuttering John loves me, dog. I'm primetime 99 pimp on a blimp. I'm kind of like his protege. Okay, let's see if we can play this a little bit. If you guys can hear.
Right. This is somebody that he be back. When he came back, the dog was fucking raped. This is somebody that he be with. Like, you pull up to 19th to Nicollet, you gonna see this bitch ass nigga. He lived in fucking Lawrence Towers. So I love Quay so much. I feel so bad. Everybody know he don't play about his dogs. They're really his kids. If y'all know Quay, then y'all know how much he love them fucking dogs. His sisters don't play about his fucking dogs. His cousins don't play about his motherfucking dogs. Monty don't play about his motherfucking dog. My kids don't play about his motherfucking dog.
Don't touch that dog.
Like, especially Keyshawn. Keyshawn don't play about Sasha. So you bitch ass nigga, you got my kids fucked up because.
Then if y'all know that puppy was just born, like
that's Nene actually was in my house. The puppy is only 3 months old, y'all.
Okay, well, there's a couple things that are a little nerve-wracking about this. Is that she is wearing a face peel mask, and I hope they don't think that she was doing some sort of racial personification. I hope not. And then also she was saying some N-words that might not be that advertiser friendly, but you know what? What are we going to do? This is the real world. When we're reacting to stuff, people are going to talk like adults, and this is an adult program, even though it's a kid's show. You guys get what I'm saying. But we're waiting on Luke Coffey. That's right. Luke was just pardoned, and I should pull up this one video. This is from Luke and I. Oh, my Twitter is so gross. Twitter is so disgusting. It's just a bad app. Even though I love it, I'm addicted to it a little bit too much, if I'm being real. I look at it too much, but yeah, it's bad news. Okay, let's see if we can share this. Let's see, add to stage. This is from Luke Coffey. This is them talking about him coming on my podcast. Well, him getting arrested, and they mentioned the podcast.
Luke Coffey turned himself in yesterday at the federal courthouse, which is right behind me. He maintains that he was at the Capitol building on January 6th for spiritual reasons and to protest.
So, yeah, I was at the Capitol.
Dallas actor Luke Coffey speaking on a
Of course they show when it's at 48 viewers. Like, I just started to go live. That was right at the beginning. They tried to make it seem like there's nobody watching.
The FBI says he wasn't just there. He also assaulted officers with a crutch. The alleged crime captured at multiple angles on body camera footage.
This was a freedom march, all right? This is a liberty march, so stop the steal.
Coffey, a Baylor graduate who grew up in Dallas, according to his IMDb page, has appeared in more than a dozen movies or shows like Friday Night Lights, most of them small roles. He also appeared on a seeking information flyer posted by the feds following the riots. The arrest affidavit says someone who recognized Coffey in videos contacted investigators. On top of that, a college classmate who so happens to be an FBI agent identified him. The FBI interviewed Coffey on January 13th, and according to the affidavit, he admitted being there but denied committing violence. He wasn't charged at that point, but a few days later said he was in hiding.
I've got 3 lawyers. I'm being protected. I'm not going to tell you where I am at.
The FBI continued to build its case. It issued a warrant on February 16th, and Coffey turned himself in Thursday. He previously maintained he was at the Capitol for spiritual reasons.
We were first singing like the Star Spangled Banner, Amazing Grace. I got on a bullhorn and I was like, let's just pray.
Yeah, well, that's them showing clips from the podcast, the old Conspiracy Castle days. You're just reminiscing. I looked young. Luke looked a little younger. Now my dad's calling me. Let's see. Yo, I'm live right now. What? Yeah. Well, I'm live right now, so whatever you say, they're going to hear. But you're saying Graham Harrell said that?
Uh-huh.
Wait.
He told Highland Park players, "Thank you like getting beat by."
Well, he got beat by a sophomore the next year.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So that's a big. All right. Love you. Bye. Well, that's my dad. We're reminiscing about high school football here in Texas. It is kind of like a religion. Okay, now we got him. Luke,
Hey, what's up, Alex?
dude, congratulations, brother. You did it, man. You're finally free. How does it feel?
I mean, I was emotional last night. I had a pretty tearful couple hours. It didn't feel real, you know. So it's amazing, Alex. It's been a dark 4 years for over 1,500 of us. It's been
Okay, let's watch this real quick and reminisce a little bit.
oh yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Watch again.
Luke Coffey turned himself in yesterday at the federal courthouse, which is right behind me. He maintains that he was at the Capitol building on January 6th for spiritual reasons and to protest.
So yeah, I was at the Capitol.
Dallas actor Luke Coffey, speaking on a conspiracy
Look at
theory
us on the
on
podcast.
January 15th,
4 years ago.
admitted he took
That's so
part in
crazy.
the Capitol riot on January 6th.
How time flies.
The FBI says he wasn't just there. He also assaulted officers
I'm
with a
praying right
crutch.
there, by the way.
The alleged crime
Yeah.
captured at multiple angles on body camera footage.
This was a freedom march, all right? It's a liberty march. So stop the steal.
Coffey, a Baylor graduate who grew up in Dallas, according to his IMDb page, has appeared in more than a dozen movies or shows like Friday Night Lights, most of them small roles. He also appeared on a seeking information flyer posted by the feds following the riots. The arrest affidavit says
You remember
the
that?
arrest
You remember
affidavit
that,
following the
Luke? How
riot
crazy
flyer
that
posted
was?
by the feds.
Oh yeah. That's me saying stop and
I'm-
pray, by the way. That's me saying stop and pray. That was my photo. Yeah. I mean,
Well, this.
Go ahead.
But Luke, this was the moment we knew the shit hit the fan, because remember at first, we didn't know how many people were going to get prosecuted. We didn't know kind of what their plan was. We didn't know there was going to be a J-6 committee that was all rigged. But this was the first moment I remember for me that I felt scared for you. How did you feel seeing yourself on an FBI wanted poster that was all over the internet?
I mean, I wasn't surprised. I mean, it was a nightmare. We were, if you don't remember, I was asking, we were going live on the way back, the drive back with you, saying this was a false flag operation. This is the biggest miscalculation of what went on. And it's a big propagandized event to demonize the Trump supporters in the MAGA movement and make us look like we're all extreme terrorists, domestic terrorists. No, so I think they nuked my Facebook because I was going on live on there. I had to speak against the false narrative, and so that made me more of a target. And Stein, they used once they finally arrested me and where I turned myself in, I had a 10-hour pretrial detention, and it was all showing clips of you and I talking about that this was a setup and that there were provocateurs. It was everything. We sounded crazy back then, insane. But God has brought everything to light. Truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. So you just let it loose and it defends itself. And that's what's happened. It's literally the truth has bubbled up finally, where now we know there's provocateurs. But what's crazy is the genesis of that. I was in Comfort, Texas. I'm in Comfort right now. I was talking to you when
This is where you were hiding out, according to Texas Monthly.
Exactly, when I was hiding out. And so it's a full circle 4 years later, talking to you and being set free and knowing that the truth is fully going to be exposed, I believe. It already is, that we know that there were FBI and three-letter agencies involved. Jeremy Brown, they're trying to get him out today, he's a Green Beret, who exposed that he was recruited as an asset and filmed the FBI liars coming to his door and trying to recruit him. And then he said no, and then he saw what happened on J-6. And so 2 months later, put it out on the interweb for everybody to see. And so they planted grenades on him. They have locked him up ever since. He's tried to run for Senate from there. They're still. We were set free.
Wait, he admits that he was hired to be a provocateur?
No, he admits that he was recruited, but he turned him down. Yeah.
He turned him down. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what he was exposing, that he was recruited. Okay.
Yeah, that he was recruited. And ironically, Stein, you know, I was there kind of as to film, you know, as a documentarian, and like I wanted to talk to you, and I was going out there, and you're on site.
This is history, Luke. You don't really have to justify why you were there. I mean, I was almost there. I think there was a lot of, you know, not just with the outcome of the election, but there was just it was just like this feeling, you know, everybody felt like obligated to, I guess, you know, fight for what they thought was right. And so I don't think you have to excuse why you were there.
No, I'm not excusing. I'm just setting us up that I was literally out there to document the day and you know, show what would be what I thought a historical day. Now an infamous day that they said is worse than 9/11 and Pearl Harbor, and that whole narrative is falling apart in, you know, the faces of, you know, the previous administration and regime. I mean, so it is so edifying that, you know, we've had, you know, a lot of us that have been speaking out truth into the darkness, you know, trying to bring a light on what we were there, but they weren't wanting to know our experience. And you were one of the, you know, brave souls. You know, that was before you had Conspiracy Cast, before you were on Blaze. Mm-hmm. But it's that we were saying what really went on. We were there.
We were calling it out.
Yes.
Yeah, we were. Well, you know, it's funny though. I ran into your brother, and I'm not revealing anything that Nate wouldn't want to say, but I go, Nate, what was the hardest part of this? And he said, actually, after Luke got arrested, it wasn't that hard. It was kind of hard before, because, you know, Luke was getting radicalized. And that's when I jumped in. I'm like, well, everybody was getting radicalized. The pandemic was going on. I mean, you know, if you weren't getting radicalized, then you weren't paying attention.
Yeah, I mean,
so I guess.
They used,
but he was complimentary, of course. I'm just saying that's what he said. The hardest part, he said, the lead up was actually harder. And I was surprised that he.
Well, yeah, I was, you know, leading up to 3 months before January 6th. I work in media. I am a propagandist by nature, a professional propagandist, being a commercial director. And they focused on my acting. No, I've been a producer and a director for 20 years in the film industry. And so what you and I saw as completely propagandized, fear-based, just media that were, you know, fear, just on everybody. That's when that woke up a lot of people that something's not right here. And of course, they used it for any January 6th that we got radicalized. Like my brother's, of course, repeating what you know, Texas Monthly and other hit pieces said about me, that I got radicalized from what was going on. Okay, yeah, sure, I'm radicalized to the truth that we're being completely blinded from. You know, so and enough of us, some of us were called to be watchmen and say, hey, listen, we're on the wall of what's happening. They're lying to us. They're trying to tell us to take a vaccine that's untested and stay home and stay safe. These are all ad campaigns that just don't pop out of nowhere. I mean, so, but this is just, they're still trying to keep guys in. Not everybody's out, Alex.
No. And there's still some people that are working on. Eli Crane and Lauren Boebert, I saw, are outside of the gulag in D.C. trying to get people out. And I think they will. Maybe people got new charges, you know, while they're in jail for having contraband. I don't know that. I'm just saying, you know, you can, when you're in jail, you can get in a fight and you get new charges.
No, it's Mayor Bowser's. It's literally the U.S. Marshals are having to come in because Mayor Bowser's thugs are trying to keep them from coming out. I mean, this is completely. They're stepping up against, now the old regime is stepping up against the new current president of the United States of America, going against his executive order. And what's good for me, Alex, is God's timing, is I'm most likely just going to have my whole case dropped completely, where I don't even need a pardon. I'm still waiting on that. You
want a timeout, because I've saw that where people are getting a dismissal with prejudice. That's what I've seen. So how is that different? I know it's different than the pardon, because the pardon is you were charged and then, you know, it gets wiped off after the fact. But they're doing dismissals. Can you explain that?
So a lot of us, if you hadn't gone to trial, or if you hadn't gone sentencing, like I've been convicted as of December 13th. I was convicted of assaulting one Lila Morris, who finally,
even though she said, what did she say, Luke? That you didn't even hit her?
She said I never touched her 2 different times, and she also, the video evidence backs it up. And she also, the only contact I had with her was her beating the hell out of me with a stick, not a baton, a stick, overhead blows, between hitting a downed Roseanne Boylan. And by the way, finally, Trump has acknowledged that there's another person that perished that day. There's actually 4 that perished that day. And by the way, there's been 13 or 12 suicides of J6ers, okay, along with other natural deaths. A guy I know named Dennis Barnes out of Austin, his son was one of the first arrested in Austin, and he was going on his way on his motorcycle to turn himself into the FBI, and he died on Mopac, which the one in Austin. And 4 years later, he was with his dad there. 4 years later, his 74-year-old father named Dennis Barnes, who's become a close friend. We both have the same lawyer, but we were playing golf a couple days ago, and he was charged in late November, and he's got pancreatic cancer, and he's 74. 4 years after his son got charged and died tragically.
They charged him 4 years later. 4
Yes.
years later.
Yes.
So he just got charged. You're saying that literally just happened.
Yes, it just happened, but he's claiming, I mean, it's washed away. So going back to anybody that hasn't been fully indicted, anybody that hasn't gone to trial, anybody that hasn't, like, I am convicted of 7 of 8, originally 10 counts, they dropped 2. But because my date is April 24th, my attorneys believe it's going to be completely washed away, like it didn't happen, like this nightmare of hell on earth has never happened. But that's going to be a lot of people. And so we don't need it necessarily a pardon. And that's just, I mean, it's a better scenario for me because I'm not officially convicted based on the timing. I waited 330 days for the verdict. And I'm telling you, these trials are in lockstep with the prosecution. It's like the judge is given, his civil assistant is, clerk, his personal clerk is working in lockstep with the prosecution. It was like he was reading a script. He didn't make eye contact with me the whole day.
He couldn't even look at you when he was sentencing you. When he was saying your ass is guilty, he couldn't even look at you.
No, I think he knows it's bullshit. They go on to try to step me back, which means lock me up until sentencing, which would have been April 24th. And he said, he starts laughing. I'm not going to walk him back. I think he knew pardons were coming.
Why do you think he laughed? Because he knew that he couldn't walk you back? I mean, why would he be laughing in a serious?
I believe he waited. I believe he knew I wasn't guilty of these crimes, but they're
they want the conviction rate.
They want the conviction rate. They're all in lockstep with each other, all the judges. The narrative is more important than truth. Intent doesn't matter. Self-defense or defense of others is thrown out the window. It doesn't matter in a DC courtroom. It's 100% conviction rate for jury trials and 99.4%. That's why I wrote an open letter to Trump through Gateway Pundit and was telling him that this is from the term is fruit from a poisonous tree. We'd rather, some bad apples go free than one good apple stay in prison any longer. This is a completely, now we know that we're seeing Liz Cheney and the J-6 committee completely pardoned, along with Biden's whole family and the 4 cops that all lied on the stand, perjured themselves in multiple trials. They were pardoned. Doesn't that show, Alex, that they're not even charged with anything? I mean,
dude, the cover up is worse than the crime. So they're already trying to cover up for past crimes. So we don't even need to go to a court of law, in my opinion. Obviously, they're guilty of something that they're protecting them from. Right. They wouldn't give the pardon if there wasn't some sort of reason. Even if they want to say, oh, well, it's going to be a political prosecution. They're going to be targeted. Not like you guys weren't targeted, but it doesn't matter. They still feel that there's enough concrete evidence to potentially convict them of a crime. So the pre-pardon is just telling on yourself.
Well, the fact that they got rid of, literally deleted, like Hillary and her laptop or whatever, or email, sorry, they got rid of all the testimonies from the J6 show trial shit. They got rid of that stuff. And so they got rid of evidence, where Nancy Pelosi says it was all on her to bring in because Trump did offer to bring in 10,000 troops to guard that day. They wanted this to happen. They wanted it to be far worse than it was. It was so evident that day because they were trying to agitate the crowd. They were escalating, not de-escalating. They were people were singing Amazing Grace, and they're firing on a bunch of boomers that are singing Amazing Grace. And they never turned back and showed you 60,000, 70,000 sea of people that didn't even know what the hell was going on, that were there to make our presence known because there was a stolen election. And now we know that. Where did the 18 million votes go from this current, Kamala? in Trump election?
Yeah, well, I mean, where did those votes go? You don't see the media talking about
No.
that, all those missing. And I think they say the numbers like now it's like 40 or 50 million, but still a huge discrepancy of people that voted in 2020 compared to 2024. It's a big red flag.
No, this was January 6th was, I believe, a complete, it was smoke and fire coup to overthrow, to show a stolen, to cover up a stolen election. It was a complete smoke and fire to, now no
But
one
Luke,
talks.
what do you think about the people? There's a lot of conspiracy theorists. Some people I'm friends with, some people I'm not. That said it was all fake. It was staged. I think those people have realized that now.
I've been harassed by patriots that are far on the other side of the, or just far conspiracy theorists where they think everything's fake. They don't think Roseanne Boyland died. They think because I have an IMDb that I'm a Fed or
You're a paid actor.
I'm a paid actor that was trying to, and I go on all these shows because I'm just, pushing on the narrative. I go on these shows because I'm one of the 1%, Alex, that didn't get locked up for 4 years. And the only, what I can do that they can't is use my voice. And that's where I feel called that like I got lucky, or God called me out to be outside fighting while these guys are locked up, and women are locked up in the inside. I mean, this is just the truth. We need everybody's stories to come out and just the reality of what a setup this was. I mean, this was an entrapment operation on American citizens, not
it was a false flag. This was a false flag operation. This is a false flag. There's people within our own government that were inside of that event trying to cause as much chaos. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But did you see Ray Epps is getting a pardon? I'm happy, I guess, that everybody got a pardon. What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, I think they can still do. I would rather see exposure and see all these clowns, that have been pardoned, that are part of the J-6 committee, and these officers. Now they don't have fifth. They can't plead the fifth, so they have to testify. And so now I'd rather them be shamed like across, the United States, to see that what they did was treasonous. Okay, whether they can be prosecuted or not. I mean, to me, it's complete treasonous acts where they entrap their own Americans, and I'm telling you, the rhinos and the rest of nobody stood up for us. And I will only go back to DC to go testify in a new hearing, which they're supposed to do new investigations and against, and shame the people that are our elected officials for not making a stand for their constituents that have gone through hell for 4 years in prisons that have cockroaches, that are, have
disgusting. They're
that
cruel
have
and unusual.
Guards that are foreign nationals in the DC gulag that beat the hell out of them. A couple guys have been raped by them. They have no allegiance to America. They hate us. So it's just, I mean, all of it needs to be exposed, because it was completely evil and wicked what they have done to American citizens. And I'm finally glad that, people are waking up where they're coming behind us. But there's that famous quote from about, in the beginning, it's, a patriot is very hated, and then it's once he's made a stand, it's easy for other ones to come on behind him without any payments. We've paid and stood in the gap for other Americans, with our lives, with our freedom, with our reputations, I lost my business, man.
You lost everything, Luke.
I lost
Luke,
everything.
Okay, before you go, now I want to bring on this next guy. He is one of the best YouTubers in the game right now. Before you go, I want to transition to this guy. He's the best at exposing Scientology for the fraud that he is. And I'm lucky to be able to call this guy a friend. I want to bring him on, the one, the only, Aaron Smith-Levin. Aaron, how are you doing? This is Luke Coffey. He just got a pardon from Donald Trump, so he doesn't have to go to jail for 10 years. Can you believe that, Aaron?
That is amazing. Must feel good.
Feels good. It doesn't feel real yet, Aaron, but it's a miracle, and my hope has been in Jesus, and I'm telling you, man, it was a miracle. How it's all gone down is a miracle from God. So I'm celebrating.
Were there any Scientologists that got arrested for January 6th?
Yes.
There were? Okay, wow. Well, we're going to get into it. So Aaron is, like I said, his YouTube channel is one of the best. Luke, what do you want to say before you go? And how can people find you and support you now that you're pardoned? What's the best way that they can help you out right now?
No, just follow me on social media. I'm at Lukewarm Coffee on Instagram. I use that mainly, but I'm on X at Luke_Coffee. and just honestly shared the truth. I mean, we now you're figuring it out that he called us J-6 hostages. So I mean, Trump has made a stand and on the world stage for us, and now that he did a complete pardon, I mean, this is unbelievable. So we need other people though. It's to once new stuff starts coming out to expose it again. Roseanne Boyland, there were 4 people that died that day. Kevin Greason, Benjamin Phillips, Roseanne Boyland, and also Ashley Babbitt. So, and then there's been 12 suicides, I mean, of people because of what the media has worked in lockstep with our corrupt government to shame
We have
us.
we have to expose every one of those. I mean,
Yes.
literally, that's what we have to work on.
Expose these wicked little lizards that have called us terrorists or stayed silent. To do nothing is injustice. Marcus Aurelius quote I love. But y'all just help us out, because it will, I think, bring healing and bring that maybe the other side will wake their ass up and where we can get past this divide and conquer bullshit. So that's all I have to say. And God is sovereign over all things. He works through suffering, and he does bring beauty from ashes. He brings beauty from ashes if you just have faith and stick with it, and don't fall for Scientology.
Yeah, this Aaron's an expert at that. All right, Luke, we'll be in touch. I'll have you on again, and we'll get an update on what's going on. I'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right. See you.
Thanks, Luke. All right. Sorry, Aaron. That guy is a very good friend of mine. Him and I went to high school together, and he came on the program a few minutes late. But, dude, I'm so happy to talk to you guys. We have the legend himself, Scientology's. Are you their number one arch nemesis, Aaron, right now? Like, who is bigger than you that's going after him, in your opinion?
Well, at least on YouTube, I can't speak. I'm sure people would say,
Yeah, I mean, I guess on YouTube, I'm just saying you have the number one YouTube because I look at the other Scientology channels and, they get some good views. Scientology stuff, like, have you seen now what gets a lot of views is the First Amendment auditors that just go outside of the Scientology centers. What do you think about those guys, Aaron?
Love him. I mean, the guy who started the whole live stream protest movement is William Good, Streets LA, Film the Police. His channel exploded. He's got more. He's got a bigger channel than I do, but he's not.
His channel's huge, but he doesn't do what you do. You sit and talk for 5 hours a day. It's a little different,
We do different things, but we collaborate. William's a friend of mine. I love what he does. I love what he started. But I'll tell you, YouTube is like in my opinion, the kryptonite of Scientology. The internet is the kryptonite of Scientology, but YouTube is where former Scientologists can say what they want, how they want, when they want, without lawyers, editors, producers, production companies deciding what's going to make it on the air. And that really is why it is Scientology's kryptonite. And that's why I've leaned into it so heavily and tried to encourage as many other people as possible to do it as well.
No, I love it. I watch your channel every day. You've been going after Grant Cardone. We're going to get into that. But I want to talk about your story. So for my audience that isn't familiar with you, Aaron, explain just a little bit of your background. You were in the church and you left the church. Can you just give us, kind of cliff notes of your experience in Scientology?
Sure. Super short version. I was about 4 years old when my mom got involved. I had a twin brother, and my mom was raising me and my brother as a single mom. She got into Scientology really young, maybe like 24 years old. She got in really fast.
Was your mom an actress or anything? Was she like trying to get into Hollywood? Okay, no, nothing like that. Well, I didn't know. 24. Maybe she's trying to break in. I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't even in California. She got into Scientology in Philadelphia. So I was actually only 12 years old when my brother and I were taken out of school to start working full-time for Scientology. And
for the Sea Org.
First it was on staff, and then it was in the Sea Org. Your casual viewer doesn't matter what the difference is.
Well, they know what the Sea Org is. Sea Org is the military wing of Scientology, and that they work you guys to death, and what they pay you 10 cents a day or something like that. What did you get paid in the Sea Org?
$46 a week.
And you worked, did you work 16-hour days? Is that true?
Yeah, 115, 120 hours a week. Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. So you started off as what, just kind of working at the church, helping them with stuff. And then how did you transfer to the Sea Org?
Oh man, we don't have a whole lot of time to get into all this.
No,
this
I mean, we can get into it. We can talk. I mean, we can go a little late. I know you're busy, but I mean, I'm honored to have you, Aaron, because you're such a badass for speaking out against when I say religion, I really want to say company that's super rich and very litigious, and that would like nothing more than to cancel you. And probably they would love it if something terrible happened to you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'll tell you, that I've had you on my show before, but I've never
Yeah.
been on your show before.
No, you've never been on the Pimp on a Blimp. And I'm so happy. You've been so nice to me because the way Aaron knows me is that a lot of times in my videos, I always bring up Scientology. I always say I'm here for church. And then the joke is the Church of Scientology. So, yes. And I've been on your show, I think, twice, I believe, maybe just once. But like I said, I watch your content all the time. For some reason, I'm just so interested in Scientology. What does that say about me? Like, I like Real Housewives. I like Scientology. What does that say about me, Aaron?
There are so many people who are interested about Scientology who honestly couldn't give a damn about Scientology. But Scientology is just another garden variety, average high control group in a cult. I mean, I call it an international multi-billion-dollar family destroying human trafficking cult, and that's what it is. But people who've never been involved in Scientology have still been involved in other high control groups or very abusive, even people in abusive relationships, high control abusive relationships will resonate with the stories of former Scientologists, and former members of other high control groups resonate with those stories. So it doesn't say anything bad about you, Alex. Nothing at all.
Yeah, I know. I guess it's just the drama, but then you look into Elron's history, and before we even get into all that, what's going on with David Miscavige? Shelley, did what happened? They wrote a letter, tried to say that she was a proof of life letter, but we still haven't seen her, or did she get seen? What is the deal with Shelley again?
The short version would be Shelley's fine. So
she is fine. She is fine. Somebody said they saw her at an event.
You want me to give me a 3-minute version of this?
Yes, please. And Shelley Miscavige is married to David Miscavige, who took over the Church of Scientology after L. Ron Hubbard passed away. And he took it over in a contentious way. David is not necessarily the most liked guy. He's a very ruthless guy. His own father excommunicated from the church, and he cut his own father off, who he was really close to, according to his dad.
That's right. Here's like the 3-minute version. In Scientology's C organization, which is like their military style, their core. They would call it the clergy, but I don't think they deserve to call it the clergy. You know what I'm saying? It's their most dedicated inner circle of workers. Being someone's wife, even if you're the wife of the leader, it means nothing. It's not like being the first lady. Okay. So like if David Miscavige were to go overseas on a trip, his wife would never, ever go with him unless it was her job in the Sea Org to go with him. So what happened was that Shelley's job in the Sea Org was to be David Miscavige's assistant. That is why Shelley went everywhere with him. That's why when he goes to an event, Shelley was there. If he goes overseas, Shelley was there. If he travels, Shelley's there. So the reason Leah Remini came to casually know Shelley Miscavige is because when she would meet David Miscavige at events, Shelley would always be there. David Miscavige is a very angry little fellow, and something happened. This is the short story. He got very angry with his wife, and he did not want her to be his assistant anymore. So he removed her from her post, and he sent her to a remote, highly confidential Scientology base to work, so that she wouldn't be on the same base that he was. And once Shelley Miscavige is no longer David Miscavige's assistant, there's no reason to ever expect any Scientologist or Scientology worker would see her. Because even when she was his assistant, she wasn't a famous person in Scientology. She's not one of the people that would speak on stage at events. You would never see her. And if you did see her, you wouldn't know who she was. So the whole Where is Shelley thing, in my opinion, is really, really funny to talk about because it shows that even the leader of Scientology couldn't use Scientology to fix his marriage. But the narrative that she's like being held hostage in a dungeon somewhere and is unsafe and being held against her will it's funny, but it's not actually true.
Well, that's good to hear. And why wouldn't a person that's high up in the church, their spouse, why wouldn't they get a little bit of, special treatment? Is it because they think that our body is only here on earth for a short time and that we're thousands of years old? I mean, is that the justification of why your wife is not that important because you've had tons of wives? Am I explaining that correctly?
Well, you're correct about their beliefs about the lifetimes, but in this particular case, that's not why being a wife doesn't matter. It's just that it only doesn't matter in the C organization. A regular Scientologist, a regular public Scientologist, like a celebrity Scientologist, being the spouse is just as important as anywhere else in the regular world. The thing is, people who are in the C organization, they are expected to be working so hard at their own jobs, 18 hours a day, that unless it's your job to go travel somewhere, you're not traveling anywhere. It doesn't matter if your husband or your spouse. There are Sea Org members who are married who don't see each other for years because they are simply doing different jobs on different continents. I'm not even exaggerating.
I mean, that's just so insane. And it kind of leads me to my next question. There's a saying in the Church of Scientology. It's called, you have it right behind you, SPTV, and that's suppressive person. Now, what is a suppressive person? And is this the basic justification of why they excommunicate people and try to ruin people's lives? Like, what can you explain what a suppressive person is and how they try to stop these SPs?
In normal words, a suppressive person would essentially be someone who is an enemy of mankind, a person who is so inherently dark and evil that they are Morgan Elizabeth. I'm a suppressive person.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's
that someone who's a suppressive person is so hell bent on destruction that they will actively fight anything that will improve anyone around them. And that's because they secretly have a fear of everyone around them, that if anyone got better or stronger or more aware or more able, they would rise up in revolt and crush the suppressive person. And so they're actively trying to harm and suppress and oppress not only people, but any movements that will make people better. And this is what Scientology says is the reason why people fight Scientology, is because they are suppressive people. And so let's say I'm an SP. Alex, you might be able to call yourself PTS, a potential trouble source. That's someone who's connected to an SP and is sort of under their influence, under their magic suppressive power spell. And after long enough, you'll become an SP. But for now, you're just PTS. To me, you can call yourself a PTS.
Yeah, I am a PTS, but you are the SP because I'm just friends with you. Now, when it comes to the idea of Scientology, and I think you and I kind of debated this a little bit, is what I said. Other than the excommunicating the families, Scientology it does help people though, right? Don't people go there and they're kind of confused and then they talk to them and they think they're better? I mean, like, are there any benefits? Why are so many people involved, even though the numbers are dropping? Why would a normal, and Aaron, I listen to you. You're obviously a smart guy. I know you're a young man, but there's other smart people that are Scientologists. How do they get kind of brainwashed into even following this if it doesn't maybe help them in the short term?
I think there's a really good argument to be made that at the introductory levels and the lower levels and maybe even the medium levels, Scientology offers a lot of people certain solutions and answers and a certain structure that they can find beneficial and helpful. Even people who've never done any real self-reflection, or, they just feel like they're not achieving their full potential. Scientology basically comes to you and says, you are essentially a god and you've fallen away from your godlike powers. And because you're a god, you can control and fix and improve anything, literally anything. And we can give you the tools to do that. That's pretty self-empowering if you fall for the pitch, It doesn't get into anything religious.
The Dianetics book that's what when they sold those Dianetics books, it's just a volcano. Nobody even knew what they were buying the book for. They just showed a marketing campaign of a volcano exploding and find your new you or whatever they said. And that was able to get, at the time, hundreds of thousands of people to sign up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even at its peak, there was never really more than 100,000 Scientologists in the entire world. And now it's closer to 25,000. If you want to be generous, 30,000. But Scientology is collapsing pretty quickly.
You're a big part of that too. And the internet, and they look up who you are and that you actually have experience being in the church. Do you get a lot of fans that reach out to you and say, "Oh, I started watching your videos and I left the church"?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, maybe you don't know. I run the SPTV Foundation.
Yeah, no, I've seen it, but I mean, I guess, yeah. Sorry, maybe you can explain it.
I mean, well, I'll tell you this: we've been officially open for business, approved by the IRS as a 501c3 for less than a year. We've already helped almost 20 people leave Scientology, and also some people who are already out of Scientology, like every single week. And see that that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people, and their numbers are dwindling. And you got 20. That's a big deal, Aaron. That's really very good. Yeah, and that's not just 20 people leaving Scientology, because not everyone who's leaving Scientology needs help. Not everyone leaving Scientology needs help finding a job or a place to live or getting back to their country or getting back to their family. That's just the people who are leaving and needed help and found out about us and reached out. You know what I mean? So I like to say Scientology is killing itself pretty quickly, and we're just helping speed the process along and trying to have a little bit of fun on the way.
Yeah, well, you're having a lot of fun. I mean, your YouTube channel is so funny. But a guy that I don't think is having a lot of fun, he's being sued by Gary Brecka. Am I saying that right? Is the one, the only Grant Cardone, who is a Scientologist, and a guy that he blocked me. I tried to bring up that he was a Scientologist in a Twitter space, and he got all mad and blocked me. And in my mind, I was kind of like, is this a relationship was it worth burning that bridge? And now, after finding out that he's involved in all these, he's very litigious. So let's just say in all these weird business dealings, you on your show, you call him a crook and everything, right? You don't hold back.
Grant Cardone is a fraud. He is a con man. He is the #1 recruiter for a family-destroying human trafficking cult. And he's also, I'm surprised how many people don't know that Grant Cardone is not only a Scientologist, he's Tom Cruise level. He's OT8. He's done as much Scientology as there is to do. So like, Grant Cardone has probably donated over $15 million to Scientology. So
he's scamming people. He's basically scamming people like Gary Brecka to invest $1 million in his 10 times X or whatever business. It's a Cardone Capital, they call it. It doesn't even really make that much sense. And then he gives all that money to the church, is what you're saying, Aaron?
Alice, you got to get your money right. You got to get your money right, bro. You got to 10x your game. You got to, if you don't make $400,000 a year, are you even a man? Are you even a man?
Dude, Grant Cardone, he said that, guys. Grant Cardone, I don't even want to pull the clip, but he literally said, if you don't make $400,000 a year, you're just broke. You're destitute. I mean, this guy is such a piece of work and such a scam artist. I love your videos exposing him. So what's the latest drama? He's being sued, but he's in like 10 different lawsuits, right?
I'm only aware of the one lawsuit. So Gary Brecka sued Elena Cardone for $100 million for defamation. And then he sued Cardone Ventures, which is Brandon Dawson and Grant Cardone, for essentially breach of contract, unspecified monetary damages in that one. So I think the discovery in this lawsuit, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to drag Scientology into it a lot. I wish it did. I like covering lawsuits where Scientology is getting dragged into it. Because it's a Grant Cardone lawsuit, I will cover it anyway. But I think it's going to expose that Grant Cardone through Cardone Ventures basically has a predatory business model set up to squeeze as many fees and suck as much money out of these companies being started up by these entrepreneurs. And it markets itself as a company that's supposed to help these companies scale and grow, but really it's just sucking them dry. So at the end of the process, they're basically broke and failed companies. And, that's my opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody else but myself. I think Grant Cardone's a large part of his entire scam is going to be revealed in the discovery of this lawsuit, is my hope. That's the only lawsuit I'm aware of currently outstanding against Grant, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, that might be. I just saw that he, was on your channel. The T-Mobile executive, John Legere, Ledger. And what happened with that? That Grant sued him, and that he did make a statement, and that they settled out of court with no cost.
He folded, man. He folded.
John did. T-Mobile
I don't want to criticize my friend John, but we've never met in real life, but I've been a fan of his, and I know he's been a fan of my videos. And I was really disappointed to see him settle with Grant, make a humiliating public apology. I think he had to put at least $1 million into one of Grant's real estate funds. And I'm like, oh, dude, you could have at least done the depositions first. Come on, man.
I just want to say that Grant Cardone is one of the most outstanding human beings in the world, and he's a great financial guru, and I've invested lots of money and potentially going to invest any more money, and that he's the greatest businessman of the 21st century. No, go ahead. Yes.
Not only that,
don't disagree with me, Aaron?
Not only that, when you join Scientology, you can give him your referral. He'll get the referral fee.
Do you get a referral fee if you refer somebody to Scientology? What do they give you money if you refer somebody? But all the courses are so expensive anyway. Why don't they just give you free courses?
You get 15% of everything your selectee pays to Scientology forever.
Oh, wow.
If I get you into Scientology, I get paid on you forever as long as I stay in touch with you.
For every course that I ever take, and that was so crazy in Going Clear, or maybe it was a different one, but how they take vulnerable people that are in Los Angeles and all over, like you said, you're in Philadelphia, they're in Clearwater, and they get people to open credit cards. There's a whole wing of the church that is basically like a banking wing, and they know how to manipulate the credit card companies in order to get approved with, not meeting the proper credentials to get this much money. So how do they do this credit card scam and spend all their money on books, Scientology books?
They had all their fundraisers all train on these illegal procedures to basically, it's essentially a loan fraud, identity theft, and credit card theft, where I'm the Scientology fundraiser, right? You're my Scientology mark. I say, give me your social security number and give me all the info, your birthday, give me everything. I call the credit card companies. I pretend to be you. I completely commit massive fraud on the application process. I open multiple credit cards on the same day. They were doing this mainly through the Navy Federal Credit Union and through Chase Bank. The credit card fraud. racked up into the hundreds of millions of dollars. To this day, Scientology is not allowed to run any transactions through Chase Bank. Chase Bank cut off all Scientology organizations from using the Chase network. The credit card fraud got so bad. And
wow,
the amount of evidence on this is staggering. And the fact that the feds have not yet prosecuted this is a bit of a head scratcher. But I truly believe that when Scientology gets prosecuted, it will not be for things like human trafficking, which they can sort of hide behind various religious protections for that. What they cannot hide behind is the identity theft, the wire fraud, the loan fraud, the credit card fraud, the bank fraud. That might all be the same thing. I don't know. But that's the kind of stuff the feds are like, we don't give a shit if you're a religion, okay? You do that stuff, we're going to come for you. I think that's what they'll get nailed for eventually.
Well, I don't understand why there hasn't been any retaliation. I might be wrong with a year, but it was like 84, 85, 86, where they did get the IRS to approve that they are a religious organization and they're now tax exempt. And at the time, if they didn't get that tax exemption, they would have gone out of business. Do you think the government could ever come back and take away that tax exemption, or is it just too vague of a thing and they're always going to fit under the guidelines to be that tax exempt?
My take on this is, could they? Yes. Will they? I hope so. But if I'm being realistic, I think the statistical likelihood is pretty low. And here's why. The IRS loses more money in its couch cushions than Scientology has in the bank. Like, Scientology on paper might be worth $5 billion. The IRS annual budget is $70 billion. So the IRS is in the business of going and getting money from the people who are supposed to pay the IRS money. Imagine the IRS having to fight Scientology for 10 or 15 years in court just to, at the end of that time, have the right to tax them on a percentage of their future revenue. What they're never going to be able to do is go claw back a past revenue. They're never going to be able to do that, in my opinion. And so if all you're going to get is a percentage of forward earnings, is that worth a 10 or 15-year legal battle? I'm not very optimistic that anyone at the IRS wants to make their career about litigating with Scientology, which is why I sort of take solace in the fact that, you know what, we don't need the IRS or the Department of Justice to do anything in order to keep bleeding Scientology of its members every single day. And that's what I focus on, and wake up every morning being happy to accomplish that. And because it's revoking the IRS tax exemption is like such a far bridge. Could it happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do I still hope it will happen? Yes. But in order for that to even be a possibility, we need to get some actual federal crimes prosecuted. If they're not being prosecuted for crimes, the IRS is not interested in hearing why they should go to battle with Scientology for 10 or 15 years to then revoke the tax exempt status. We have to take it one step at a time. And I think the next step is going to be a federal criminal prosecutions for the hundreds of millions of dollars of credit card fraud that can be easily proven.
Well, we only have you for a couple more minutes, and I hope that all gets exposed, especially those crimes. I mean, if Chase Bank won't even do business with them, that kind of is a red flag that they're obviously doing something corrupt. But, there's Wells Fargo, there's Bank of America, there's independent banks. So, they can find somebody to process their transactions. But when it comes to Scientology and all the work that you do to expose it, let's be real, though, Aaron, and you can stream and you can get, millions of followers. I think South Park is probably the greatest person to expose Scientology. Would you agree with that? Because anytime you talk about Scientology, they talk about that South Park clip. How monumental was that stupid cartoon? Not calling South Park stupid, but a short 3-minute cartoon basically blew up their whole church's ideology.
It was huge. I mean, the internet in general has been kryptonite for Scientology, but the South Park thing was huge. When it comes to exposure, you have to expose different generations. You have to expose new generations. You have to make Scientology so toxic and such a joke to the younger generation that it makes it impossible for Scientology to recruit. And I think that's what South Park did. I mean, it's putting information out there that even Scientologists didn't know. Scientologists, unless they've done those upper confidential OT levels, they didn't even know that that's what you learn on those levels. I did not find out that that's what you learned on those levels until after I left Scientology. Because
Shut up! You had no idea who Xenu was at no point. It didn't even come up just accidentally. Somebody's like, "Hey, I looked up who Xenu was."
You're not allowed to talk about that. Like, it's so confidential in Scientology that if you have a husband and a wife who are both doing OT3, where you learn about Xenu, even if they both finish OT3, they are not allowed to, in the privacy of their own home, discuss it with each other, or they're in deep, deep trouble.
But how does that work? You take the OT3 class and then they bring you into a very special room within the church and then they pull out this book and it's the original book. And then after it, people usually say, well, this isn't real. This is fake. I think Leah, I think I saw her clip saying that she was like, is this real? Is that how everybody reacts? That they get told that Xenu is this galactic overlord? And I know you didn't get to that level, but do you think most people, as soon as they get to that level, they're like, dude, this can't be right. This is what I spent my whole life worshiping, and it's all about a space alien. Is everybody shocked when they find that out?
Here's what I think the biggest shock is, because all Scientologists already believe in aliens. The idea that L. Ron Hubbard's talking about aliens and souls is not what's crazy. What's crazy is that that's what they've been waiting for their whole lives, to get on these magical levels. Like, that's the disappointment, not that the alien part of it is crazy. It's like, wait a second, I thought this shit was supposed to give you magical powers. How is learning about Xenu and the body thetans, and now I have to telepathically get them off of my body? How is that going to give me magical powers? Like, that's the disappointment. And so then they're like,
yeah, when you say magical powers, they explain to people in Scientology that once you get to these levels, you can cure the cold, you can be sick, and you can just cure yourself, right? I mean, there's all kinds of magical, metaphysical things you can do, or that you think you can do if you get to these levels. Like you can bend a spoon. Is that right?
Telekinesis, the Neo in the Matrix. Whatever Neo can do in the Matrix, those are the powers kind of Scientologists hoping they're going to get on the upper OT levels. So
and
like
that's what Grant, is that what, so Grant thinks, do you think Grant really believes he can do telekinesis and can heal himself? And
yes.
Wow.
I very sort of dark twisted turn here. It's one of the reasons so many Scientologists die of cancer, because they think they can fix the cancer with the Scientology processes. It's not even that Scientologists aren't allowed to go to doctors. They're totally allowed to go to doctors. It's that they think, L. Ron Hubbard has said that if you have cancer, one of the main reasons you have cancer is because these spirits that are stuck to you is what's giving you the cancer. So if you get rid of the spirits, the cancer will go away. So someone like a Grant Cardone, if he were to get cancer, would likely spend like dozens and dozens and dozens of hours trying to telepathically talk to these spirits that are stuck to him, these dead alien spirits, half dead alien spirits, to make them go away and stop giving him cancer before he would go get something like chemo. And that's why someone like Kelly Preston, John Travolta's wife, dies relatively young, even though she's, wealthy. She could have been under the best medical care in the world. And at the end of her life, she probably was. But I promise you, Scientology is one of the big reasons she did not get diagnosed and treated earlier. And that's where some of these weird beliefs, have real world negative consequences, do real world harm, destroying families and destroying lives.
And they really do. And it's just the harmful nature of this church. It obviously outweighs the little bit of good that they do. When they help out somebody at the beginning, they make them feel good. The next thing you know, they're using your credit card to do credit card fraud. And then your wife divorces you and you have to excommunicate. You can't talk to her. So next thing you know, your life is ruined. So, Aaron, thank you so much for making time. Everybody needs to go, and I'll put the link in the description. Everybody needs to go follow Growing Up in Scientology. It's one of the best Scientology. If you're interested in this subject, I know this is, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but when you think about, for me, L. Ron Hubbard, he's a very powerful guy, science fiction. It's reality is stranger than fiction. I think that's why I like it so much. So, Aaron, how can people find you and support you before you go?
Growing Up in Scientology on YouTube is where it all happens. None of my other socials. I mean, I do Twitter, but it doesn't matter.
Everybody go follow my Twitter. Okay, Aaron, last thing. What's coming up around the corner? Like, is there big news? Tom Cruise, this and that. What's kind of the scuttlebutt with Scientology? Anything big coming up that you're going to be covering soon that we can?
In my opinion, some of the big things are a couple lawsuits that are currently ongoing against David Miscavige personally and Scientology for things like child essay and some trafficking stuff and some possible civil RICO stuff, and that's what I'm keeping my eye on. It should be a very entertaining year.
When you were in the Sea Org, and I know it was abused, did you see people get abused sexually?
Well, you don't see people being.
You don't see it,
abused.
But did you know? Did you hear about that? I mean, was that common in the Sea Org?
You hear of it coming up in audit. You hear of it coming up in auditing sessions and ethics interviews, and it's not that Scientologists don't think that's bad. It's that they will never, ever, ever involve the authorities. And that's one of the things I focused on my channel is exposing these, I don't know if we can say the word on your channel, people who abuse children, exposing some of these people who did that chronically in Scientology And Scientology not only didn't report them to the authorities, but continued to put them in situations where they would be able to continue to do such abuse. I love calling out those people by name on my channel. And my big thing is Scientology cannot sue me. They cannot sue me. And Scientology has this reputation for being very litigious, but they earned that reputation back in the 90s. They haven't sued a freaking person in like 20 years. People need to
I know
stop
you
being so
said
afraid
that.
of
They haven't
Scientology.
sued. They haven't sued anybody, though. I hear you say that all the time because I thought that they have so many damn attorneys and everything. You're telling me they haven't sued anybody.
Oh, they have a lot of attorneys.
I just can't believe that.
They have a lot of attorneys. And they send a lot of threatening letters, but they haven't actually sued anybody. The last person they tried to sue was a former Scientology executive named, what is that? Oh, yeah.
This is us. Have you ever seen this? And then before you go, guys, and Tom Cruise is going to sue us. We just want to say we love you, Tom Cruise. You're the best. Mission Impossible is the best movie ever, and Scientology is the greatest religion ever. This is what they put, and they come after me, not as bad as you, but I'll see the comments and say, Aaron Smith-Levin regularly associates with anti-Semites and Islamophobes. My last name's Stein. Okay, I'm an anti-Semite. Alex threw a bucket of hot dogs at a Muslim man laughing. I brought you a little gift. You love pork, right? Welcome to America. They were turkey dogs. That was a joke. But can you believe this? This is all over the internet. They try to associate us together, Aaron. So I just want to say before you go, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being my friend. I know it doesn't always being friends with me isn't always easy, but thank you for being true and having my back. And if there's anything I can ever do to have your back, just let me know.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, go follow Aaron. Aaron, talk to you soon, brother. Keep up the great work, guys. And we're going to be going live in 30 minutes from the studio. Make sure to clip this, tag Aaron, all of the exposing of Scientology. We want it all over the internet. You will make Aaron's life a lot easier if you guys go follow him and help him spread the truth. All right, Aaron, have a good evening. I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you.
Guys, that's Aaron. Everybody go follow his channel. I'm going to put the link in the description. He's a badass. He's funny, too. I know right now he wasn't actually putting on his comedy show, but when he starts going and starts talking, and he's a really funny guy when he gets on a roll. So, all right, guys, we're going to be going live here in 26 minutes. We need all of you chat rats in the chat. Make sure to like, subscribe. I wanted to get these interviews done before the show, and we're going to be posting clips. We're going to be going wild. We got Jen Lee in studio, as well as a cook from Waffle House. That's right. We're going to do some Waffle House self-defense classes. So thank you guys for watching. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys very shortly. Less than 30 minutes, we're going to be going live on this same channel. So don't go too far away. You see Morgan, the top chat rat? This is why Morgan's a queen. He's just so professional. We love Morgan. All right, guys. And we like Scott Starboard, too. We love Scott Starboard. We got rats in the chat. I love it. All right, guys. We'll see you in 20 or so minutes. Peace.